Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. In this video I will share with you a very nice bag recipe, the model of which belongs to a famous brand. I want to show you the model closely. Look, we will make such a beautiful work by combining two different colored paper threads. I want to show the base like this. Look, we will prepare a rectangular base, a very easy example consisting entirely of single needles. Again, our bag handle consists of single needles just like the original. I did not make a closure at the mouth, etc., but you can make snaps at the mouth and tie the edges to the middle part with a chain, just like in the original. There was no lining in the original, this style is unlined. The bags are really useful, but if you want to use them for a longer period of time, you can also sew aces on the inside. This is entirely up to your taste. It is incredibly easy to make. I tried to share it with you in detail, step by step, throughout the entire process. I hope that will be useful. Before moving on to our detailed recipe, I would like to make a small request from you. I would be really happy if you could subscribe to our channel for free, like the video and leave your comments. Let's move on to our recipe. I used 4 balls of spaghetti paper yarn for my bag. I have completed my bag with 4 slots in total using 2 green colors and 2 in the other color. I want to share with you a feature like this. The mixture is 100% paper weight, 130 to 150 grams. 250 meters long. Look, it is a ball of yarn directly through it. You can start knitting by purchasing it. The knitting is quite easy, so I can say that spaghetti yarn's knitting is the softest knitting I have ever knitted. I would definitely love to have you meet the clerk of Spaghetti Yarn. By the way, I would like to share a nice discount news from Spaghetti Yarn, special for my subscribers. You can complete your shopping with a 10% discount with the Gulkin10 code, which you can use for purchases of 100 teraliters or more from spaghettiyarn.com. I would like to thank the Spaghetti Yarn family for this nice discount. To knit our bag, we will take paper yarn in 2 different colors and knit it in 2 layers. The original bag was made with raffia rope. Since the raffia threads I had were thick, I decided to make them with paper thread. If you have raffia yarn that is not too thick, you can also make it by combining 2 different colors. You can easily do this work with shelf thread, but as I said, my threads are a little thick, so I wanted to work with paper thread. Look, we are bringing 2 different colors together. We will knit it in 2 layers. You can easily do this work by combining the colors you want. My crochet number will be 5 millimeters. You can determine your own crochet number according to the thinness and thickness of your yarn, the density and looseness of your knitting. Look, we start with the chain first. We took our yarn, we made the first chain into a lock, then we prepare our starting chains, making sure that it is a little looser than the setting we knitted. Here I started with 30 chains in total for my big bag. After starting with 30 chains, I prepared a classic rectangular base and knitted the rectangular base by increasing 5 rows. Let's count like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows. I finished it by knitting. Now I want to tell you the hand and length of the base. Here my base is 35 centimeters on the longest side. Let's measure the short side like this. Measures 9.5 centimeters. These measurements may change even if we use the same yarn and the same crochet number. This will vary depending on our knitting tightness and looseness. It is also worth mentioning this. Dimensions will vary depending on the thinness and thickness of the rope. Don't worry about the number of chains here. You can adjust the number of chains according to how big or small you want your bag to be. I started with 30 chains here. Now, since I'm going to describe a smaller example, look, it is enough for me to draw 2, 4, 6, 7 chains. Now, I am turning the reverse part of our chain, not the straight part. Look, we will sink into the back cut lines of the chain. We will work by sinking into these back cut lines on the opposite part. I hope it is understandable. Because when there are 2 colors, look, it can look a little complicated. In fact, it is a model that I always describe. We will prepare a rectangular base and finish our bag with straight single crochet, but for those who do not know, it is useful to show these stages. Now we have pulled our chain enough and reversed our knitting, we leave the last chain and immediately leave the next one. We have removed a stitch by sinking into the back cut line of the chain. We have 2 stitches, we fill them, we start with a single crochet, the other one immediately sinks into the back cut line of the chain. knitting a single crochet again, and we proceed in this way by knitting a single crochet in each chain until the last chain. Look, we have come to the last chain. Now, we will knit 3 single crochets in the last chain. After knitting one by one, I put this short rope in between. Look, I don't tighten the stitch too much. At this stage, I dip into the same chain and remove the stitch. After the second single needle, look, we have moved to the opposite side. We come back to the same chain and use the third single crochet. We knit 1, 2, 3 single needles. Then look at the other single needle that will remain on our crochet hook in the shape of a spike. We will also hide the short rope at this stage. We cross to the other side. By knitting single needles again across the single needles we have knitted, we move forward to the point where we first started. My knitting is quite easy. Since we are working with double-numbered crochet hooks, work without squeezing your hands, especially when working with paper thread. If you have very tight hands, be sure to use large numbered crochet hooks. If you squeeze your hand too much, it becomes more difficult to weave paper rope, because this is a hard structured yarn. It is useful to knit a little loosely for easier knitting. Now look, we come to the chain where the first single crochet is. We knit the second single needle. Since we will knit in a spiral way, we come to the same point and knit the third single needle. Look, we knitted one when we started, second and third. Now at this point, this third SC is our ending SC. Let's attach a safety pin to it so that its location is clear. Let's attach our safety pin to the body point. This is our finishing point. Now we come to the top of the first single crochet we knitted. Look. We come to the top and knit 3 single crochets. Now we will create the corners, 1 in the same space, 2 in the same space. We will knit the others one by one. Look at these points one by one. This will move forward. Now we have come to the point where there are triple 1, 2, triple single crochets. We knit 3 single crochets in the first single crochet of the triple, 1 in the same space, 2 in the same space, 3 in the other. That is, we knit 1 single crochet in the second single crochet. Look, we knitted a triple crochet. We knit 3 single crochets in the second, this third single crochet. We knit a single needle, 2 and 3. Look, we have created the corners. Then we continue by inserting 1 single needle into each of the incoming single needles. We will proceed to the first point of the triple single needle. At this stage, now look, this is our finishing second single needle. This is the third single needle. When we started, we already had 2 and 3 dead stitches. Now it is the last one we knit. We knit 3 single crochets at the top of the single crochet to the previous point. 123. Yes, now look what happened again with the hook. We come to the top of the single crochet and knit 1 single crochet and finish our row. We create the rectangular base like this. Now our job is easier. Look, there are triple single crochets, 1, 2, 3. There is 1 single crochet. Look at the 4 corners of this. There are triple crochets. In these 4 corners, we will knit 3 stitches at a time in the second of each triple single crochet. Make increases in the corners and knit the other points one at a time to obtain our rectangular base. Now make 1 single crochet in the first of the triple crochet and 3 in the second. 1, 2, fly. Let's look at the others one by one and move on. I proceed by knitting the others one by one until I see the triple single crochet and I come to see 1, 2, 3 single crochets. We will knit 3 single crochets into the second of the 3. We will have made it in the increase here. 1 for the first one, 3 single crochets for the second one, 123. Look, there is a lot of 2 layers of paper in the tray. It knits easily. He doesn't force anyone. Now look, we knitted 3 single needles in the second of the triple single needle. We knit one after the other. By the way, there was a single needle. We knit this one by one. Now the trio welcomes us. 1, 2, 3. Now we knit another one for the first of the 3. Now the single crochet here has become 3. These single crochets will increase 2 by 2 in each row. Now we have come to the second of the trio and we are knitting 3 single crochets. Look, we have created 1, 2, 3 corners. We are moving forward by sinking to the other points one at a time. As we have written, the rectangular base is one of the easiest base types. Look, now let's come to the point where the corner is triple single crochet. Let's knit 1 stitch for the first of the 3, 3 again for the second, 1, 2, and 3. Now we knit up to the single needle where the safety pin is, one to another. Look now, the single needle at the top of the single needle where the safety needle is. This is the single needle at the top of the single needle where the safety needle is. This is the last single needle we will sink. Now we came here and knitted our single needle. Now that I am describing a small example here, here are 1, 2. It is enough for me to knit 3 rows of sole. For the large base, I prepared my base by knitting 5 rows and completing the 5 rows. I shared the dimensions with you at the beginning. Now after knitting the base, we need to iron it at this stage. Because it would be difficult to iron the sole after we finished the bag completely, we knitted the sole until it reached the desired size and then knitted it in reverse with the steam iron at this stage. You can iron it by pressing it, there is no problem. After ironing, see what we do. You can move the hook to this point if you want. After knitting the base, after finishing, we will knit the wall from now on, and we will only proceed by knitting 1 single crochet at each point in a spiral way. Look, we knit 1 single crochet at each point, no different, no action. Look, we will make the wall of our bag high enough by knitting a single crochet in the corner and knitting it in a spiral way. Look, I want to show you the big part here. Let's also tell you how many rows I knitted completely. I knitted until there were 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 31 rows. See, this was my finishing edge, right from the point of the last single crochet. Now I will finish with you from here. As I said, the size of the wall is entirely up to you. Let's give the measurement in centimeters right here. Then let's finish it together. Look, I'm measuring the size of our bag from the increase point, 29, 30 centimeters. To the extent this is the size of our bag. These measurements were sufficient for me. As I said, you can work in any size you want. Let's finish this together right now. Look, I left my rope inside for a long time. Now this is the last needle we hit. Look here, I will finish at this point. Let's show it one more time after knitting the last single needle here. Look, I'm knitting the last single needle. And here I lengthen my loop and thread long enough, cut it in the middle of the loop and remove the remaining thread like this. And at this point, after removing it from the single crochet, it is inserted into another single crochet, not into the single crochet right here, but into the top of the next single crochet. Then, from the point where this chain is, I sink into the back point and the outer channel and take the rope in from here to the back cut line. Then we will walk this rope inside. After completing the wall part, we will iron the base from the inside, and after finishing the wall part, we will iron the wall part with a steam iron. Since the thread is 2 layers, you can also hand iron it, but it may be a little difficult on your hands. At this stage, you can also use a smaller numbered crochet hook to hide the thread, which is what I will do because it does not fit. Here you can do your ironing and complete the wall of your bag. Now we have finished knitting our bag. At this stage, let's describe our handles and move on to mounting our handles on our bag. I had braided and prepared my stems before. I used 4 single crochet stitches in total here. I knitted it until there were 65 rows. I will tell you what neck size it is right away. Look, it's 3.5 centimeters tall. The length is 55 centimeters. It's enough for you to measure. You can make the handle shorter or longer. Now, how do we make the handle? At the beginning, I leave a little bit of yarn to sew our bag. After leaving the yarn, we start working with the same crochet number. See here, I'm pulling it loosely because I'll use it in the first chain. 2, 3, 4, I start with 5 chains. I reverse my chain, I leave the last chain and sink into the back dashed line of another chain, and look at the base as we started. We knit our single crochets by sinking into the back dashed lines. The last chain is done in the same way, using this dashed line. We are knitting a single needle. Now there are 4 single needles here. After knitting the last single needle, we stretch the stitch slightly and turn our knitting, and we knit a single needle directly by sinking into the first space that comes up. Let's make a lock like this, sinking into another gap in the second single needle. This is our 4th single needle. 4 single needles were enough for me. You can increase or decrease the number of single needles here, depending on the thinness and thickness of the two of you. Look. I make turns without a chain, I stretch the stitch, turn my knitting directly, and sink into the first space that comes up. Look, we will prepare our handle by knitting single needle directly. It was done like this in the original bag. Look, I stretched the stitch in this way, and I prepared my stem by knitting 65 rows with 4 single needles. As I said, you can prepare your stem as long as you want. Now knit 4 single needles like this until it reaches 65 rows. I knitted it until I completed it, and when I finished, look again, here is the last single crochet stitch. I left my thread for a long time and took it out directly from the stitch. As I finished my bag, now let's move on to mounting them on our bag. I will use an etamine needle to mount our handles. You can also combine them with the same crochet hook. It's all up to your taste. I'm buying it now. Look at my handle. Let's take one like this, centering my bag. In the original bag, the handle was machine stitched, but we will place our handle with an etamine needle in a way that will not be noticeable. What am I doing? I attach my thread to my needle in 2 layers. We assemble our handle in 2 layers to make it stronger. Let's finish our bag by quickly sewing our handles. Subtitle MK. We mounted our handles to our bag. The bag originally did not contain aces. There was a snap on the mouth part, and there are fastening points on the edges of the bag right there. It is connected from the middle part as follows. Again, I add the photo and image to the screen. You can look from there. You can just pull the chain, attach it from these edges, and tie the middle part. Then look at the middle part. It will close. That way its form is very nice. Look, I want to show it like this. When closed, the form of the bag changes even more. When that happens, I want to show it roughly like this. This can tie in the middle. The mouth part does not have to be snappy or necessarily the same shape. You can sew aces inside. You can sew a zipper. You can use different handles to cover the mouth part. You can make different closures. This is entirely up to your taste. Look, it looks very neat and beautiful on the inside of the bag, but I prefer to use it this way. I don't even use snaps. As I said, you can do it. This is entirely up to your taste. The description of our bag was like this. I hope you like it and try it too. I wish good luck to those who will do it. Don't forget to like our video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. Goodbye until we see you in the next video.